My name is Victor Fuhrman. Some call me the Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me now and we will explore these topics and so much more with fascinating guests, authors, and experts who will guide us to Destination Unlimited. May an exploration of meditation techniques from different cultures around the world provide renewed clarity, joy, and happiness. Returning to Destination Unlimited this week is happiness history expert, author, and teacher Shai Tubali. His numerous books have appeared internationally in 11 languages, and he offers classes and training in chakra activation and expansion meditation. His website is shaitubali.com, and he joins me this week to share his new book, exploring 35 meditation techniques from around the world, Llewellyn's Complete Book of Meditation. Please welcome back to Destination Unlimited, Shai Tubali. Welcome, Shai.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be back.
Shai, our last interview was in 2019 when we were experiencing quite a different world. For our listeners meeting you for the first time, please share your early path and how it led to your career in both journalism and broadcasting.
Well, I started very early in life a career of a writer, a journalist, and a novelist. And this seemed like a very promising career. I was quite confident that this would be my future as well. But soon after, I embarked on the spiritual journey quite unexpectedly. And this, I think, turned everything upside down because the sense of a promised future was lost, and I started to dedicate my entire energies to the research of consciousness. And this, I think, has been my love ever since. So ever since I've been a researcher of consciousness, both objectively as a scholar and subjectively as a spiritual teacher and a student.
And a major change in your life was when you were drawn to City Yoga. How did that change your life?
Well, I wouldn't call it studying yoga exactly, because it was more like a self-inquiry in the sense of Buddhist inquiry of what it means to have a sense of self. And I had a teacher at that time. And what happened was that I simply discovered that what I perceived as my separate sense of self was actually inseparable from the entire universe. And this has completely changed my drives in life, my motivations in life, because I've realized that my personal story means very little. My personal self-fulfillment, my own goals and destinations, what I can become. And then I've begun to dedicate my entire energy to impersonal or universal forms of fulfillment, which means in actuality serving my fellow human beings in terms of in the direction of the evolution of consciousness.
The last time you were on, we discussed your book, The 7 Chakra Personality Types. Give our new listeners an understanding of what you shared in that book and how they may use it to identify their chakra personality type.
Well, that was and still is one of my most exciting explorations. I would say this is because I discovered the world of chakras many years ago, more than 20 years ago, through my second spiritual master, who is a yogi, an American yogi actually, and I began to discover or to realize that chakras were not just impersonal energy centers that each of us needed to enkindle or to stimulate and to bring to balance and awakening, but that there was a sort of personal dimension to the chakra system. And this personal dimension simply implied that each of us possesses certain stronger chakras, chakras that are stronger than others, and that actually become the interplay of our personality, the forces that compose our personality. So this previous book was all about enabling us to identify our three major chakras and their exact interplay in a way that can enable us to know what our individual or soul-oriented fulfillment should look like, what our individual meaning and happiness in life.
Now, you offer a program called the 21-Day Chakra Activation Challenge. Please tell us about that.
Oh, the 21-day chakra activation is simply a way of, because, traditionally, chakras have always been about being a ladder that starts from the root or the base chakra. And I think this is very intuitive. We start by awakening or transforming our foundation, and then gradually climbing all the way to the crown. This means that we cannot skip, we cannot overlook any floor, any compartment or dimension of our being. So what the full chakra activation does is stimulate through certain meditations, affirmations, psychological processes, each of our chakras, so that the innate life force that is stored within our being can finally be released and rise upward. As soon as this life force rises upward, we experience increased health, we experience greater happiness, and unconditional type of joy and inner power. So this is what it is, what the challenge is all about. Being able to not only consider the chakras theoretically, but to have a profound experience of the chakras and to understand why they mean so much to us in terms of our daily experience.
And how may listeners find out more about this program?
Well, they can simply enter, everyone is welcome to enter my website. And on the page that is the category titled Campus, this is where this challenge awaits them.
And his website is Shai Tubali, that's SHAITUBALI.com. Now, your new book that is coming out this coming January is entitled Llewellyn's Complete Book of Meditation. What inspired this book that led you to research and share 35 meditation techniques from all over the world?
Yes, so that's the present exciting endeavor. And the reason that I created this book, which is quite an ambitious project, is that I wanted to create a guide, a comprehensive guide, a comprehensive and clear guide to the world of meditation that will enable also beginners to become familiar with the most important, most classical meditations in the world from different traditions, from more than 12 traditions, in a concentrated way, and to be able to pick their most suitable meditation. I believe that each of us has certain gateways to meditation. There is not one meditation for for everyone. And if we manage to pick the right meditation and for the right reasons, our ability to enter the world of meditation and to discover the secrets of meditation is significantly greater. So the thing is that nowadays we are exposed to an abundance of meditations, and many meditations that have been kept hidden throughout the ages are now available to us, and completely outside their cultural context. So this is really wonderful, but it's also really challenging, because how do you even approach these meditations, which usually require a great deal of initiation and commitment? So I believe that it is quite difficult to return to the age of commitment to one meditation for the rest of your life, you see?
Yes.
So we need to create a certain order to understand deeply the role and the function of each of these meditations. And for this, what I've done is to take this enormous range of meditations and to divide them into 7 clear purposes, 7 clear groups, actually based on or inspired by the chakra of the system of the 7 chakras.
How do meditations differ in diverse cultures and religions?
Well, first of all, I would say that we need to divide the world of meditations if we want to address the question of culture, to divide it into East and West. This is our first division. This is because when you approach monotheistic religions, you don't find meditations in the familiar sense. They don't. Meditation is usually takes the form of prayer. It takes the form of a certain practice, but that is related to the deity. But it is not meditation as we know it, as it has become, as it has reached us from the direction of the East, which is really where meditation was born. So it is important to, when we approach the world of meditation, if we want to reach some unified understanding of meditation, we need to go really into the universal essence of meditation. You see, to ask ourselves what is meditation, not in a traditional sense. I think this is what is quite innovative about this book, is that usually books of meditation, they address or are dedicated to just one tradition or just one technique. And here, this approach reflects my own approach that honors all traditions, but doesn't cling to any of them. So what we look for in this book is a universal sense, a universal essence, a universal state of meditation.
How does regular meditation practice relate to happiness, feeling calm, and finding clarity in one's life?
That's a beautiful question. Well, I would say that what we are missing on a daily basis, and the reason for our the absence of calmness and clarity and happiness, is that we don't have stillness. We lack this inner space. You know that the term Brahman, which represents the indivisible reality in Hinduism, means, literally translates as expansion, to expand. And I think that this is what we don't have. When we close our eyes, we don't experience an expanded or space or vastness inside, but we experience a certain contraction, a very focused energy, or a very concentrated space that is the result of identifying with a bundle of thoughts and emotions. Now, when we begin to enable this vastness, this inner space, everything becomes more proportionate. This means that our thinking, which formerly constituted a tremendous part of our inner space, is now just a tiny bit. It's just like one star in our vast inner sky. So in this way, we finally return to our unlimited nature, our original nature, and we become steeped in a universal reality in which our own private or limited consciousness becomes just a part of a greater whole. So when we are in this state, in this vast expanse, we finally become freed from the sense of the doer, the one that needs to take responsibility for life, and that lives with a sense of problem consciousness. This makes us clarifies our inner space and enables us to make effortlessly decisions and choices in our life.
And prior to the events that have transpired over the last 3 years, which have been life-changing in so many ways, a regular practice of meditation was very important for most of us. But what about now? Is it more important than ever?
Well, that's a wonderful question. I think I admit that sometimes during the last year's crisis, I've been watching people, and I kept thinking, how on earth are they managing without meditation? You see, because it is actually, I think it becomes increasingly impossible in our stressful and overwhelmingly challenging times to continue or to maintain our basic sanity without this silence, without the cultivation of a non-reactive consciousness that relieves us, at least momentarily, of this sense of problem consciousness. Now, sometimes we think that this perhaps makes us escapists. It makes us people who move to some island of inner security in order to avoid problems. But actually, meditation, when done correctly, is the absolute foundation for action in life. If meditation is done with the right intention, when you open your eyes, you have this kind of basic sanity because you have become familiar, you have contacted the other half of yourself. The other, it's like your negative self, or the self that is free, negative in the sense of the complementary self or part that is free from time, free from the sense of problem, free from the sense of limitation. That is essential, just as water and air are.
And it's a form of self-compassion, isn't it?
Yes, that's a beautiful point. Yes, there was a teacher, a great teacher in the 20th century called Yogananda. And Yogananda said something that I always use, and I even quote in the book. He says meditation is like giving a hug to yourself.
Yes, absolutely. My guest is Shai Tubali. His new book coming out in January, Llewellyn's Complete Book of Meditation. Shai, please share with our listeners where they can find out about all of your books, your website, and more about your work.
Well, first and foremost, I would invite listeners to the website, to www.shaitubali.com. And then, of course, the books are everywhere on Amazon and any online bookstore, and in the publishers' websites.
And Shai, in addition to the books and the program that we talked about earlier, the 21-day challenge, what else can listeners find on your website?
Well, first of all, there are plenty of events. And the events are extremely diverse because my incentive or my drive in life is not just to teach meditation, but as we said at the very beginning when we spoke of the importance, the significance of the chakras. Chakras tell us that we should honor and cultivate all of the dimensions of our life. Therefore, listeners and readers will find on the website events and books that deal with therapeutic processes based on the principles of spiritual enlightenment. But they will also find events and practices that deal with relationships and that deal with the way we fulfill our emotional world or fulfill our deepest talents. So everything, all of that needs to be embraced, and this is the spirituality that I aspire to share.
Absolutely. My guest is Shai Tubali. We'll be back with more of Shai after these words on the OMTimes Radio Network.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes. Co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Imagine yourself being transported to India, to the banks of the Ganga and an ashram in Rishikesh. Visualize that you are welcome to satsang with an American sannyasi who shares the wisdom of her guru. Your visualization has manifested. Join Sattvi Bhagawati Saraswati for inspiration and transformation every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio. Back on Destination Unlimited this week is Shai Tubali. We're talking about his brand new book, Llewellyn's Complete Book of Meditation. As we shared in the first segment, you're bringing meditations from all over the world. Did you find one that was your personal favorite?
Oh, yes. Well, I would say that the answer should be split into two parts. First of all, my favorite meditation is the one called Inner Fire, Tumo meditation. It belongs to Vajrayana Buddhism, and actually this one is one of the meditations that I had to refrain from incorporating into the book. Although I did mention it several times and provided the preliminary practices for it, because this one is quite complex. But Inner Fire is a meditation that I've never encountered a meditation that has the power to awaken the Kundalini and transform the chakras and awaken the subtle body to such a degree and with such immediacy. So what inner fire does is that it works with the inner heat that is stored deep within or deep below and within our navel chakra. And when you build up this heat event and you direct it correctly, this heat rushes upwards all the way to the crown chakra and transforms into an expanded state of consciousness. So this is by far my favorite meditation, and now it has also become the meditation that I teach in my events. But yes, please.
No, go ahead, please.
And the second part is actually perhaps surprising because the second part is that I would say that my favorite meditation or the ultimate meditation is what the sage or the yogi Tilopa was actually the one of the founders of the inner fire in tantric Buddhism, what he called non-meditation. And I think that's really interesting because this also doesn't appear in the book. And this is because the ultimate meditation is actually not a technique. You see, and I know that this may sound a bit surprising or odd, given the fact that I've provided in the book offered 35 meditations. But really, meditation is a certain state. So to reach this kind of essential or fundamental meditation, it cannot be really achieved by a technique, although at the same time, all techniques are like rivers that keep flowing toward this one essential state. And this non-meditation is actually that instead of doing a technique, you simply stop doing. You stop making any effort. And Tilopa gave what is called Tilopa's 6 words of advice. And he said that when you sit for meditation, you don't recall, which means you let go of the past. You don't imagine, which means that you let go of the future. You stop imagining the future. Don't think, which means that you don't even try to think about what is happening now in your present. Don't examine. Don't try to focus on anything, to meditate on anything. Don't control. Don't try to make anything happen. And his last advice is rest. Relax right now and rest. And for me, this is the ultimate meditation and this is one of the messages of this book. After all, the 35 techniques, that meditation is a state that is already here. It's not something that you do or create. It's not some kind of island of silence that you form within your mind, because in the most essential sense, your mind is already silent, and reality already is. This is what in Hinduism is called the discovery of the existent. You are only supposed to discover what already is. Therefore, the only way is a non-way. The only way is by falling into the present. So this is for me the ultimate meditation.
You know, it reminds me of a sharing that I received back in the 1980s when my spiritual path was reemerging. And I would attend a series of these Friday night gatherings at the home of this woman who was well into her 80s at the time. She was very warm and very wonderful. And she would bring people together and have teachers of various different disciplines. And
Yes.
one night, the teacher was sharing a message that didn't resonate with me. And this woman could tell by looking at my face that I was not embracing what was being said. And she said, as the evening came to an end, she said, would you mind staying for a few minutes? I'd like to share something with you. And I said, of course. And after everyone had left, she came over and she took my hands. And like a mother, she looked at me and she said, may I share something with you? And I said, of course. She said, God does not require that we be holy, but God would love for us to be whole. Embrace everything about yourself, and what works for you, let go of that which does not work for you. When she said that, that changed my life.
Mm.
And that almost sounds like what that teaching was, that last teaching that you just shared.
Mm. Mm. That you could relax into your being. Is this what you mean?
That's right. Be who you are, be your wholeness, and relax into it.
Mm. Yes, exactly. I think this is the final message of all meditations in the world is that we are not becoming someone, becoming a great meditator as a result of meditation, but that we are actually returning to or finding a way back to our original state.
Absolutely.
This is what meditation is all about. And I think when we understand that, we stop making such great efforts in meditation and begin to relax into what is.
Absolutely. Now, there are some wonderful techniques that you offer in Llewellyn's complete book of meditation, in addition to the fire one that you just discussed. Let's start with, let's share a couple of these with our listeners. Let's start with one that seems to resonate with me, the inner cave of the heart.
Oh, yes. This is actually also one of the most important meditations I could ever think of. I think this is a tremendous learning. The inner cave of the heart exists both in Hinduism and Buddhism, and it's actually extremely ancient. And it is basically teaching us that the right location of the heart chakra, which is not in the front or at the front of our chest, just facing the world, but actually deep within our chest. Which means that if you travel all the way from the lower base of your chest to the center of your body, in front of your spine, there you find the inner cave, which means that your true heart, which also contains your innermost self, contains the seat of your soul, and contains your connection, direct connection to reality, is hidden deep within your heart. This is really where our enlightenment lies. Now, this means that we need to move behind our superficial layers of the heart. You see, because according to tradition, our outermost part of the heart still belongs to the psychological and emotionally wounded and emotionally beaten element. But if we move to that inner cave, we actually move to a place that has remained unaffected and unshaped by any trauma and has never been imprinted by anything. So it is timeless. And this is what makes the heart chakra a place to rest in, even if we have been wounded and traumatized by life. So this is what I appreciate so much in this, because it is both a therapeutic practice and a highly spiritual realization.
Absolutely. And one more that I'd like you to share with our listeners, yes. Mystic Rose.
Oh, yes, Mystic Rose is Osho's meditation. Osho was a 20th century mystic and spiritual teacher, and he was actually a great innovator in the field of meditation. And what he did, this specific meditation is an adaptation of his 21-day program. The 21-day program is usually a very profound process, and I've condensed it into one meditation that can take place in 1 hour. And this means that your first part is consists of 20 minutes of just laughter. This means that you are beginning to find this part in you that is unconditionally joyful right now, regardless of your circumstances. So you're finding this point of laughter, this innate or inherent joy, and you're beginning to laugh. You're beginning to laugh uncontrollably, and this begins to melt certain resistances and certain difficulties. So this is the first layer of inner cleansing. Then you move to 20 minutes of tears, of crying. So you find here the point of sadness inside you that perhaps has been buried, or perhaps it is completely accessible to you at that moment, and you begin to cry. So at first, of course, this is artificial, but then you're beginning to tap into certain buried layers of profound sadness. And after 20 minutes of laughter and 20 minutes of tears, you are moving to 20 minutes of deep silence. Now, what I love about this silence, and this is what makes Mystic Rose very easy for beginners who struggle with trying to silence their mind in meditation, in conventional meditation. This type of silence already results, or naturally results, from your tears and from your laughter. You have been relieved. You have cleansed your being, so your silence can naturally blossom. I think this is a very beautiful approach, also because tears and laughter, they are somehow complementary halves. Also in our life, we experience pleasure and pain interchangeably, and somehow they flow from one another. So in this way, you cover these two halves of our human experience, and then you transcend both to a state of silence.
It sounds like a very healing process too.
Exactly. And I think that all good meditations are also great forms of healing. Sometimes going through profound forms of meditation covers or treats at least certain portions of our psychological world. So in this sense, we need to go less through therapeutic processes. Of course, we cannot do away completely with therapy and with the psychological dimension, but I think that meditation somehow removes layers of psychological burden, and they do that indirectly and effortlessly.
Absolutely. My guest is Shai Tubali. All of these meditations he is sharing right now will be in his new book, Llewellyn's Complete Book of Meditation, which will be available January of next year, and you can start pre-ordering it right now. We'll be back with more of Shai after these words on the OMTimes Radio Network.
Humanity Healing International is a small nonprofit with a big dream. Since 2007, HHI has been working tirelessly to bring help to communities with little or no hope. Our projects are not broad mandates, nor are they overnight solutions, but they bring the reassurance that no one is alone and that someone cares. To learn more, please visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing. is where your heart is.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers and researchers pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Have you wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer.
In response to attacks against Asian Americans, Maddie Park raised over $250,000 to donate cab rides to the Asian community.
There is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
Support the Asian community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
More than 24 million Americans have an autoimmune disorder, and that number continues to grow. I'm Sharon Saylor, and I'm one of those 24 million. To put that number in perspective, cancer affects about 9 million and heart disease up to 22 million. That's why I've brought together top experts and those thriving regardless of their diagnosis to bring you the latest, most up-to-date information. Join me, Sharon Saylor, Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the Autoimmune Hour on Life Interrupted Radio to find out how to live your life uninterrupted.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human. And she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Learn more at She Can STEM, a message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Back on Destination Unlimited, my guest this week is Shai Tubali. We're talking about his new book, Llewellyn's Complete Book of Meditation. Shai, you've been called the happiness history expert. We need a little happiness history memory in our world right now. What may we learn from ancient India and Greece about the pursuit of happiness?
Yes. This I think is quite an interesting point because my expertise in happiness in ancient Greece and ancient India is the result of my PhD thesis, which I've just completed. And the book of meditation was actually written alongside the PhD, which was of course very challenging, but also contributed to the book of meditation. So what we can learn from ancient India and ancient Greece about happiness, I think first of all it may strike some listeners as quite surprising that we can combine the teachings of ancient India and ancient Greece into some kind of a greater lesson of happiness. But this is one of the greatest discoveries that when you move all the way back to these ancient times, you discover that both ancient Greek philosophers and the sages of India, they were busy with one project, and this was how to develop philosophies or teachings that could show us the way to happiness. Of course, what happiness entails, this was a source of great dispute, but what we can understand when we learn from these teachings is, first of all, that the science of happiness hasn't changed at all throughout the ages. Because we might think that right now our learning about what should make us happy is very different to the type of teaching that someone required or needed to hear 2,000 years ago. But what we can learn about happiness is, I would say, three major things. One is that we are meant to liberate ourselves through the power of our own mind. This means that if we hope that someone will make us happy, whether be it a god or a partner, this is exactly our illusion. What we are meant to do is to take full responsibility for our happiness, because our mind is the source of the greatest illusion, but also our mind is the source of our greatest freedom. So it's only how we work on our perception of reality, and this is how we achieve happiness or salvation through the power of our own intelligence. Now, the second teaching is that happiness, and we said that already, is always related to a return to our original nature. This means that we are originally happy, that we are innately happy. The only thing is that our mind needs to be cleansed from certain attachments, from certain fears, from certain misinterpretations of reality. So it's all about returning to a natural state of the mind, rather than trying to, I don't know, become something in the world, or trying to grow into something greater or other than ourselves. And
I'm sorry.
Yes.
No, go ahead, please.
And the third teaching is that happiness is always related to the liberation of our mind from earthly bondage. This means that the more we free ourselves from expectations that the world will make us happy, the more we are able to return to this original nature.
Your postgraduate work was in film, which is the basis of storytelling in modern society. How do the stories that we mull over in meditation or in everyday life give rise to whether we're happy or perhaps feeling like a victim?
Well, that's exactly it, because this is an interesting question. Indeed, what I researched before this history of happiness was film and philosophy, and this is the field of telling stories, but we are storytellers ourselves. This is what we need to understand, that we are directors and screenwriters, and we do that all day long. So we create movies and we project them on the screen of our mind, and then we become miserable because of the stories that we ourselves have created. So I think that the greatest learning, or the first learning, is that we are the creators of our stories, of our movies. we sometimes tend to believe that we are just caught in some kind of objectively existing story. But the stories that make us miserable and the stories that make us happy are simply our own self-created thoughts and emotions, and then our reaction and the power that we endow these films with. So this is again how we return to the art of meditation, because in the art of meditation you begin to develop this type of intelligence, this type of awareness of the way you are weaving your own self-induced suffering. And at the same time, you are becoming aware of your ability to liberate yourself from these movies by the simple act of stopping to believe them, which means stopping to give them power. I think in meditation, you finally become aware of the fact that you possess the greatest power in the whole universe. And the greatest power in the whole universe is the power of your attention. What you choose to give power to becomes real and meaningful. And what you choose to take your power of attention away from becomes completely meaningless and powerless. So that's the discovery of meditation.
And that leads to your method called expansion meditation. Tell us about that, please.
Oh, expansion meditation is, I would say, and actually the expansion meditation is also included in the book of meditation, one of the 35 meditations. Of course, this is the youngest meditation that is presented in the book, because most of them are classical meditations. And what the expansion does, I think, is that it enables us to easily and systematically achieve higher states of consciousness simply by focusing on certain contractions, certain thoughts, emotions, ideas that we possess. We simply identify them, and then we enlarge them, make them broader through visualization, breathing, and the power of our intention. And when they grow bigger, they simply transform themselves into higher states of consciousness. There is this, if we return to Yogananda, who I quoted before, Yogananda said that if there is, we recognize, for instance, just a tiny bubble of joy inside us, we simply need to get hold of it and to begin to allow it to grow bigger and bigger and bigger, until at a certain point this tiny bubble of joy explodes. When this bubble of joy explodes, it leads us to the ocean of joy. So in expansion, we focus on these tiny elements inside us that are initially contracted forms, and we use them in order to reach the ocean of our consciousness.
It almost sounds like going back to the consciousness we had when we were young children.
Exactly, because this sense of limitless consciousness without the boundaries, the usual boundaries of identities, attachments, and concepts. So this is, I think, why when people experience expansion, and then even when they are complete beginners, and this is their first meditation, they are amazed to realize how just one thought away, they can get in touch with a completely divine consciousness that is always there, but is just hidden from us because of our own identifications.
It almost sounds like awakening from and stepping out of the matrix.
Exactly. Yes. Again, the matrix, not the matrix that the world imposes on us, but the matrix that we create through our own mind creation.
Absolutely. My guest, Shai Tubali, his new book, Llewellyn's Complete Book of Meditation. Shai, one more time, please tell our listeners where they can get your books and find out more about the work that you offer.
So first of all, there is of course my website, which is www.shaitubali.com. This is the main source of information, and then the books are of course offered in all bookstores, also online bookstores, and on Amazon and the publishers' websites.
Shai, thank you so much for coming back and joining us again today and sharing your experience and your wisdom.
Yeah, it's been a great joy, as always, to discuss with you, Victor.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us on Destination Unlimited. I'm Victor, the Voice Fuhrman. Have a wonderful week.